What's up guys, welcome to Sessions and welcome to Orlando. So this week we're making our way down to Florida and we've got 3 goals for this trip. So first, we're going to go to the Orlando Water Sports Complex and just get some cable sets in, and we're filming for our wakestyle versus freestyle video. And second, we're going to be testing the new RPM at the 520 Slick. We've had a lot of requests for gear reviews on liquid force and slingshot, so we're only going to be riding that on this trip. And third, we're going to catch up with a couple of my friends, Steve Lee and Chris Bobrick. Now Steve was one of the original MACkite team riders, and Chris was actually my instructor way back in the day. These guys showed me what kiteboarding was all about, and even though we all live in different places, we still make a point to link up for sessions. This is lining up to be a good week. We've got some wind in the forecast, a couple cable parks to check out, and 7 days just to ride with good friends. Let's get to it. So it's day 1 here in Orlando, and I'm just catching up with Steve Lee, and we're making our way over to Freedom Wake Park.
Yeah, Freedom Wake Park's a little private lake, kind of south side of downtown Orlando. They do boat lessons, and they got a little system 2.0 to do lessons on too. So we got like a little park, a lot of people wake skate there. So yeah, we're gonna check that out and get a little wake session in, do some filming. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, should be good. It's just the first day. We've got wind in the forecast, so we're going to head down to Miami after this and catch up with our buddy Chris and get a session in. So we'll catch you guys at the lake. Meet Steve Lee. Steve was one of MACkite's original team riders. A couple years ago, he moved to Central Florida to get more water time. Back when I first learned, Steve was one of the locals to introduce me to kiteboarding in boots and the crossover to cable boarding. In our early days of kiteboarding, Steve and Chris became some of my closest friends. If it was windy, they were always on the water. If it wasn't, they were always game to skate or ride the cable park. When it's windy, he's more likely to pair a surfboard or a wake skate with his kite. You might not see him in many of our videos, but hands down, he's a staple on our team. In fact, he gets more water time than anyone we know. As we progress with more videos, you can expect to see some more content with Steve Lee in the coming year. So to the point at hand, I wanted to share some tips this week about how to improve fast at wake-style kiteboarding. It comes down to getting time in on a board at least 3 days a week. If you click the eye icon in the upper right hand corner of your screen, I'll do a write-up on Steve's gear and share some tips I've learned about progression from both him and our good friend Chris Bobrick. I mentioned that cable is the perfect way to cross-train for kiteboarders, and a while back, Steve and I did some tutorials breaking down the basics. I'll link those into the blog as well. We spent our first day riding at the Orlando Water Sports Complex and Freedom Wake Park, just getting footage of the local wakeboarders like Sam Langley and Josh Young. The best thing about cable is you can pretty much ride every day and bring it back to the kite when it's windy. And while these two sports are different, cable is hands down the best way to develop board skills and body awareness. Sometimes people forget that skills in action sports are learned just like regular sports. Movement patterns and repetition. If you want to improve fast, you've got to get more time on the water. Whether it's the kicker, sliders, or air tricks, my point is, if you dedicate non-windy days to cableboarding, your kiteboarding will improve fast. With the weekend approaching, we decided to make our way down to Miami to catch up with Chris and to try to get a session in on the new RPM. So it's day 2 here in Florida, and we just got down to South Beach. I'm here with Steve Lee, and
What's up?
We're gonna hit up 25th Street, and the wind's looking pretty light right now, you know, with typical kiteboarding, but the weekend's looking pretty good, and I think we're gonna get out on a boat. What do you think the plan is here?
Yeah, tomorrow's pretty strong offshore wind it's showing, so we're gonna get out on a boat. Chris's friend that runs and operates the Reef Beach Bar right over on 27th and Collins down here in Miami. We're gonna go out on his boat, try to get out to Stiltsville or somewhere we can get away from the land to get that offshore wind. So yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, man, looking forward to it. So we'll catch you guys down at the water. The wind was pretty light that day. Regardless, it was good to catch up with an old friend. I had a conversation with Chris about progression and pushing it in kiteboarding. If you click the eye icon and visit our blog, I'll include a write-up on what Chris taught me about progressing faster in kiteboarding. With conditions not lining up in Miami, Steve and I decided to head north to visit his favorite kiteboarding spot on the East Coast, the 520 Slick in Cocoa Beach. So it's day 5, and it looks like Miami didn't really pan out for us, so we made our way up here to Cocoa Beach, and we're going to try the 520 Slick. So conditions are a little bit light today as well, but I think it's going to pick up this afternoon. We got a couple kites out to try, including the new RPM. So Steve and I are going to just test that out and get some footage for the Versus video. And then we're also working on a sessions with Steve where we'll run down his gear. Yo, buddy. You ready for this?
Yeah, man, it's cold, but we'll make the best of it.
The slick here was perfect for testing out gear. Smooth water by the road, smooth wind away from the mangroves, gusty wind in front of them. We almost got the full range of conditions that day. Since then, I've drafted up a new RPM versus the old RPM video, and we'll break down everything you need to know about this year's big changes. Most notably, we love the new low end and bar pressure of this kite. Hooked in or unhooked, you get consistent feedback, and you'll know where the kite is at all times, even mid-back roll. It's been a while since I've had a kite session with Steve, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you're riding so much as who you're riding with. Central Florida might not be the most talked about kiteboarding destination, but in the last 2 years, it's become a regular part of my routine. Between the cable parks, the great beaches, and my good friends, no doubt I'll be back on a regular basis for years to come. That said, all good things must come to an end. With a week's worth of riding under our belts, it was time for me to get back to Michigan and grind out some more edits. Alright guys, that's a wrap. I'm back here in Grand Rapids. It's about 23 degrees, and we're just going to wait for the shuttle to pick us up and get back to MACkite here and get some work done. So it's been a good trip. You know, we had a lot of good times, and I'm just ready to be home. So we'll catch you next time on Sessions.